Nothing in the universe truly disappears. Not energy, not matter, not the invisible forces that move through every star, every planet, and every living thing. Everything you see around you is part of a system that refuses to waste anything. The universe does not erase, it transforms. What looks like an ending is only a shift into another form. Look at your own existence for a moment. The energy flowing through your body right now is not new. It did not begin the day you were born. It did not suddenly appear when your heart started beating for the first time. That energy is ancient, older than mountains, older than oceans, older than Earth itself. Long before you ever took your first breath, the particles that now make up your body were already moving through the universe. Think about that carefully. The atoms inside your body once traveled through space as dust. They drifted through massive clouds of gas between stars. Some of them were formed in violent stellar explosions that happened billions of years ago. Others were forged in the intense heat of ancient stars that lived and died long before our planet existed. Those stars burned, collapsed, and scattered their material across the universe. Over unimaginable stretches of time, that material slowly gathered again, eventually becoming planets, oceans, living cells, and finally you. You are not made of brand new material. You are made of recycled cosmic history. Every cell in your body is assembled from atoms that have been part of countless other things before you. They may have once existed inside distant stars, drifting nebulae, ancient rocks, or living creatures that walked the Earth millions of years ago. Nothing about this process is random waste. The universe simply keeps transforming what already exists. Energy follows the same rule. It never disappears. It never vanishes into nothingness. It moves, shifts, and changes form constantly. The warmth you feel from sunlight began its journey deep inside the core of a star. That energy traveled across space for millions of years before reaching Earth. Plants absorbed it. Life captured it. Eventually, it became the energy stored in food, and that energy now powers the movements of your body and the thoughts forming inside your mind. This means something deeper than most people realize. The energy that allows you to think, move, and exist right now has been traveling through the universe for an incredibly long time. It has passed through countless transformations before arriving in this brief moment of your life. And when this moment passes, that energy will continue moving forward, changing form again and again, just as it always has. Most people rarely stop to consider this reality. Life feels isolated, personal, temporary. It is easy to imagine that everything begins with your birth and ends with your death. But the universe does not operate on that kind of small timeline. The laws governing matter and energy stretch across billions of years and unimaginable distances. Your life is not separate from those laws. It is one brief expression of them. The atoms inside your body do not belong to you in the permanent sense people often assume. They are borrowed, temporarily arranged into a structure that allows awareness to exist for a short period of time. That structure will eventually change, just as every structure in the universe eventually changes. Yet the components themselves continue their journey. Nothing disappears. Nothing is erased. The universe simply rearranges what already exists into new forms, new patterns, and new moments of existence. This realization can feel unsettling at first. It challenges the idea that things truly end or vanish. It forces a different way of thinking about life itself. Your existence is not an isolated event that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It is the latest chapter in a chain of transformation stretching back to the earliest moments of the cosmos. Right now, the energy that once burned inside ancient stars is flowing through your nervous system. The atoms that traveled across space for billions of years are forming the structure of your body. The same physical laws that guide the motion of galaxies are operating inside every cell you have. You are not standing outside the universe observing it from a distance. You are a temporary arrangement of the same matter and energy that shapes everything else. And that leads to a simple but powerful realization. If nothing in the universe truly disappears, then your existence is not an isolated spark appearing out of nothing. It is part of an ongoing transformation that has been unfolding since the beginning of time. The energy within you is ancient. The matter within you is ancient. And for this brief moment, that ancient energy has taken the form of a conscious human life. There is a rule that governs everything in existence, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy. It does not negotiate. It does not fail. It has never once been broken. Energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. It can only change form. This law quietly controls every process in the universe. Stars shine because energy transforms inside their cores. Planets move because energy becomes motion. Light travels across empty space because energy takes the form of radiation. Even the smallest chemical reaction follows this rule with perfect precision. Nothing appears from nothing, and nothing fades into absolute emptiness. The universe simply shifts what already exists into new expressions. This rule might sound abstract at first, but it is happening around you every second. Every movement of your body, every breath you take, every thought forming in your mind is part of this same transformation. The energy inside your muscles allows you to walk, lift, and move. The electrical energy inside your brain creates signals that become memories, ideas, and decisions. Your body is not producing new energy out of nowhere. It is simply converting energy from one form into another. Consider something as ordinary as eating a meal. The food you consume contains stored chemical energy. That energy originally came from sunlight striking the surface of the earth. Plants absorbed that sunlight and converted it into chemical energy through complex biological processes. When you eat those plants, or animals that fed on those plants, your body breaks down the molecules and releases that stored energy. It becomes heat in your body, motion in your muscles, and electrical signals in your brain. Nothing new is created in that process. The energy simply moves through a chain of transformations. Sunlight becomes plant life. Plant life becomes food. Food becomes the power behind your heartbeat, your breathing, and your ability to think. This chain does not stop with you. When energy leaves your body, it continues moving through the environment. The warmth leaving your skin spreads into the surrounding air. The motion you create in the world transfers energy into objects around you. Even the sound of your voice carries energy through vibrations in the air. Every action is part of a larger system where energy constantly flows and changes form. The scale of this system is almost impossible to fully imagine. Energy travels across enormous distances and vast stretches of time. The sunlight reaching Earth today began its journey deep inside the core of the sun. It took thousands of years for that energy to work its way from the sun, center to its surface. After that, it traveled across space for 8 more minutes before finally reaching this planet. When it arrives, it fuels ecosystems, drives weather systems, and supports nearly every form of life. The same rule applies far beyond Earth. In distant galaxies, stars release energy that spreads through space for millions or even billions of years. Some of that energy may eventually encounter matter again, heating gas clouds or helping to form new stars. The universe does not allow energy to vanish. It simply spreads, transforms, and continues its journey. Even events that appear destructive follow this law perfectly. When a massive star explodes in a supernova, it releases enormous amounts of energy in a violent burst of light and radiation. From a distance, it may look like a sudden end, but the energy involved does not disappear. It moves outward, spreading across space and influencing everything it encounters. That released energy may heat nearby gas clouds, trigger new star formation, or travel across the universe as radiation. What appears to be destruction is actually transformation on a larger scale. The same principle operates inside your own body every moment of your life. Your heart converts chemical energy into mechanical motion as it pumps blood. Your muscles transform energy into movement whenever you lift an object or take a step. Your brain uses electrical energy to transmit signals between billions of neurons. Each of these processes follows the same rule with absolute consistency. Energy enters a system, changes form, performs work, and continues moving forward. This law is not just a scientific idea written in textbooks. It is the underlying structure of reality. Every machine ever built, every biological organism, every star in the sky operates under the same principle. Nothing is free. Nothing is lost. Energy must always go somewhere. Once this becomes clear, the universe starts to look very different. Instead of a place where things randomly appear and disappear, it becomes a continuous flow of transformation. Energy passes from one form to another like water flowing through an endless network of channels. Heat becomes motion. Motion becomes electricity. Electricity becomes light. Light becomes chemical energy inside living organisms. And through this entire process, the total amount of energy never changes. This realization carries a deeper implication about your own existence. The energy powering your body today is not isolated from the rest of the universe. It is part of the same flow that powers stars, storms, oceans, and galaxies. The energy in your muscles and brain is simply another stage in a chain of transformations that began long before your life started. Every moment of your existence is powered by energy that has already traveled through countless other forms. It has been light, heat, motion, and chemical reactions long before becoming part of your body. And eventually, it will continue its journey beyond you as well. The universe does not waste anything. Energy keeps moving forward, endlessly shifting shape, never disappearing, never being erased, always transforming into the next form waiting in the chain. Most people move through life without ever confronting a simple fact about their own bodies. What feels personal, new, and temporary is actually built from materials that are unimaginably old. The human body appears fresh and alive in the present moment, but the atoms forming it have existed for billions of years. They have traveled through time and space, participating in events far greater than any individual life. Every atom inside you has a history that stretches back to the birth of the universe. In the earliest moments after the universe began expanding, only the simplest elements existed. Hydrogen and helium filled the vast emptiness of space. These tiny particles drifted through the darkness, slowly gathering under the pull of gravity. Over time, enormous clouds of gas collapsed and ignited into the first stars. Inside those ancient stars, something extraordinary happened. The immense pressure and temperature at their cores forced atoms together in powerful nuclear reactions. Hydrogen fused into helium, helium fused into heavier elements, and the internal furnaces of those stars began creating the building blocks of everything that would exist later. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, iron. These elements did not exist in the early universe. They were manufactured inside stars through processes that lasted millions of years. When those stars reached the end of their lives, many of them exploded violently. These explosions, known as supernovae, scattered newly formed elements across enormous regions of space. What had once been trapped inside a single star was thrown outward into the cosmic environment, mixing with gas and dust, drifting through the galaxy. Those scattered particles did not disappear. They remained in space, slowly moving through vast clouds of matter. Over immense periods of time, gravity pulled some of that material together again. New stars formed. Around those stars, planets began to take shape from swirling disks of dust and gas. One of those disks eventually became Earth. The rocks beneath your feet, the oceans covering the surface, and the atmosphere surrounding the planet were assembled from the debris of long-dead stars. That means the atoms inside your body did not originate here. They arrived as travelers from ancient cosmic events. The carbon in your cells was forged inside stellar cores that burned long before the sun existed. The oxygen you breathe was created in the violent deaths of massive stars. The calcium strengthening your bones was born in explosions so powerful they briefly outshined entire galaxies. This is not metaphor. It is physical reality. The elements necessary for life were manufactured in the life cycles of stars and then scattered across space. Eventually, those elements became part of this planet, and over billions of years they participated in chemical processes that produced the first forms of life. Once life began, the atoms started another long journey. They cycled through oceans, rocks, plants, animals, and the atmosphere. They moved through countless organisms over immense spans of time. The carbon atom inside your body today may have once been part of a prehistoric plant. Before that, it might have been locked inside a piece of limestone. Before that, it drifted free in the atmosphere of an ancient world. Go back even further, and it existed inside the core of a dying star. Nothing about those atoms is new. They are veterans of cosmic history. Yet when you look at your reflection, it is easy to believe your body is a completely fresh creation. It feels personal and unique, as if it appeared recently and belongs entirely to you. But in truth, your body is an arrangement of extremely old components that have been reused again and again by the universe. Your cells are constantly rebuilding themselves from the material you consume. The food you eat contains atoms that once existed somewhere else. They may have been part of soil, plants, animals, or the air itself. Your body takes those atoms, rearranges them into living structures, and uses them to maintain the processes that keep you alive. Over time, many of those atoms leave your body again, returning to the environment to continue their journey. This constant exchange means the physical substance of your body is never completely fixed. Atoms come and go, participating in different chemical reactions, entering and leaving tissues as life continues. The body you have today is not made from exactly the same atoms you had years ago. Matter flows through you the way water flows through a river, and yet the illusion of permanence remains. It feels like your body is a solid, stable thing that belongs only to you, but physics tells a different story. What you call your body is actually a temporary structure assembled from materials that have existed long before your life began. This realization can be unsettling, but it is also deeply revealing. It shows that life is not an isolated phenomenon appearing out of nowhere. It is part of a much larger cycle in which matter continuously rearranges itself into new forms. Stars create elements. Explosions scatter them across space. Planets gather them. Life organizes them into complex biological systems. Eventually, those systems break apart again, releasing the atoms back into the environment where they continue their journey. You are one moment in that enormous chain of transformation. The carbon building your muscles has already lived many previous lives in different forms. The oxygen moving through your bloodstream has traveled across oceans and atmospheres long before entering your lungs. The iron in your blood was created in a stellar furnace billions of years ago. Every part of you carries the memory of cosmic events far older than the Earth itself. When viewed from this perspective, the human body becomes something extraordinary. It is not just a biological machine struggling to survive on a small planet. It is a temporary gathering of ancient particles that once existed inside stars and will one day exist somewhere else again. The atoms inside you are older than any civilization, older than mountains, older than the oceans, older even than the sun. And for a brief moment in the history of the universe, those ancient atoms have assembled into a living form capable of thinking about its own existence. Energy never stays still. It never rests, never settles permanently into one place, and never agrees to remain locked in a single form. The universe is built on motion and transformation, and energy is the force constantly pushing that transformation forward. What seems stable at first glance is actually part of an endless flow happening beneath the surface of everything. Look closely at the world around you, and this movement becomes impossible to ignore. The warmth you feel from sunlight is energy arriving from a distant star. The wind moving across the land is energy transferred through the atmosphere. The waves in the ocean carry energy that began as sunlight heating the surface of the earth. Even the quiet beating of your heart is a sign of energy converting itself from one form to another. Nothing stands still in this system. Energy moves through everything, constantly shifting shape as it travels. The sunlight reaching Earth begins deep inside the core of the sun. There, immense pressure forces atomic nuclei together, releasing tremendous amounts of energy in the process. That energy slowly works its way outward through layers of burning plasma before finally escaping into space as light and radiation. Once released, it begins a journey across the darkness of space, traveling millions of kilometers before reaching this planet. When that sunlight arrives, its journey is far from over. The energy does not stop when it touches the surface of the Earth. It spreads into the environment, interacting with matter in countless ways. Some of it warms the ground and the ocean. Some of it reflects back into space. Some of it is captured by plants through chemical processes that store the energy inside biological molecules. That stored energy becomes part of the food chain. Plants hold it within their structures. Animals consume those plants and absorb the energy. Predators consume other animals and inherit the energy stored within them. Eventually, the energy moves through entire ecosystems, fueling the motion, growth, and survival of living organisms. The same process reaches your own body every day. The food you eat contains chemical energy originally captured from sunlight. Your body breaks down those molecules and releases the stored energy through complex reactions inside your cells. That energy becomes heat in your body, movement in your muscles, and electrical signals in your brain. Every step you take is energy transforming into motion. Every thought forming in your mind is energy traveling through networks of neurons. Even the simple act of breathing requires energy flowing through muscles and chemical systems inside your body. The important thing to understand is that none of this energy appears from nowhere. Your body does not create energy from nothing. It simply converts the energy that already exists into forms that allow life to function. Chemical energy becomes motion. Motion becomes heat. Electrical signals become thoughts and decisions. As those processes happen, energy continues moving forward. The heat leaving your body spreads into the surrounding air. The movement of your body transfers energy into the objects you touch and the ground beneath your feet. The sound of your voice sends vibrations through the air, carrying energy outward in expanding waves. Even when something appears calm or silent, energy is still flowing beneath the surface. At the microscopic level, atoms are vibrating. Electrons are shifting positions. Particles are colliding and exchanging energy constantly. What looks like stillness is actually a complicated dance of motion too small to see. The universe does not tolerate stagnation. Energy must keep moving, keep transforming, keep redistributing itself through space and matter. This constant motion explains why change is unavoidable in every system. Stars eventually exhaust their fuel because energy continuously escapes from them as radiation. Planets experience weather and geological activity because energy from their stars drives atmospheric and thermal processes. Living organisms must constantly consume energy to maintain the delicate structures that keep them alive. Without the flow of energy, everything would collapse into stillness. But that never happens because energy is always moving somewhere. When a star releases light, that light carries energy across the universe. When a meteor strikes a planet, its kinetic energy transforms into heat and shock waves. When lightning strikes the ground, electrical energy becomes light, sound, and thermal energy. Every event in the universe is simply another stage in this endless chain of transformation. The same truth applies to the energy moving through your body right now. The strength in your muscles, the warmth of your skin, the activity inside your brain, all of it depends on energy flowing through you moment by moment. The moment that flow stops, the biological systems that depend on it can no longer maintain themselves. But the energy itself does not disappear. It simply leaves the structures that once directed it and continues its journey elsewhere. Energy refuses to be trapped forever inside any single form. It passes through stars, planets, living creatures, machines, oceans, and atmospheres. It becomes light, heat, motion, electricity, and chemical reactions. Each transformation leads naturally to another. You are not separate from this movement. Your body is one temporary channel through which energy flows. For a short period of time, the universe organizes that energy into a structure capable of action, thought, and awareness. Inside you right now is energy that once traveled across space as sunlight, once existed as heat in distant environments, once moved through other living organisms long before you existed. That energy continues its motion inside your body at this very moment, powering every process that allows you to be alive. And just like everything else in the universe, it will not remain in one place forever. It will keep moving forward, transforming again and again, following the same relentless rule that governs every star, every planet, and every living thing. Energy never stays still. It moves through the universe endlessly, changing form but never disappearing, always continuing the journey it began long before you arrived. Most people spend their lives believing they are small, temporary, and disconnected from the vast universe around them. The sky feels distant. The stars feel unreachable. The cosmos feels like something separate from human life. But that belief collapses the moment you look at the deeper truth of physics. You are not standing outside the universe observing it like a spectator. You are part of it in the most literal way possible. The same matter that builds galaxies builds your body. The same energy that fuels stars powers the electrical activity inside your brain. The same laws governing the motion of planets govern the movement of every atom inside you. This is not philosophy. It is not poetic language meant to sound inspiring. It is a physical reality that exists whether you think about it or not. The atoms inside your body were once scattered across space, drifting through enormous clouds of cosmic dust. Those particles eventually gathered together through gravity, forming stars and planets. Over billions of years, they became part of oceans, rocks, plants, animals, and eventually the biological system that became you. Your body is not separate from the universe, it is built directly from it. Yet most people walk through life thinking they are insignificant. They imagine themselves as tiny creatures trapped on a small planet in a giant cosmos that does not notice them. They believe their existence is detached from the grand structure of reality. Physics quietly destroys that idea. The energy flowing through your body right now obeys the same laws that control the motion of galaxies. The electrical signals firing inside your brain follow the same fundamental principles that govern lightning storms and solar radiation. The atoms forming your bones and muscles behave according to the same physical rules that shape distant stars. You are not separate from the cosmic system. You are an active piece of it. That realization forces a different perspective on what human existence actually is. Life is not an isolated accident floating in an empty universe. It is one of the ways the universe organizes its own matter and energy. The same physical ingredients that produce stars and planets also produce conscious organisms capable of thinking and questioning their place in reality. In other words, the universe did not simply create matter and leave it drifting aimlessly. Over time, that matter arranged itself into systems capable of awareness. Your brain, with all its complexity, is built from the same particles that once floated freely through space. This leads to a truth that many people find uncomfortable. The universe is not something out there. It is something you are made of. The distance between you and the stars is not as absolute as it feels. On a fundamental level, there's no separation between the matter forming your body and the matter forming distant galaxies. It is the same material, following the same laws, participating in the same ongoing transformation. Yet, despite this connection, people often shrink their own existence. They convince themselves they are powerless, unimportant, or too small to matter. They underestimate what it means to be a conscious system built from the raw materials of the cosmos. Think about the scale of events required for you to exist. Stars had to live and die to create the elements in your body. Galaxies had to form and evolve over billions of years. A planet had to develop the right conditions for life to begin. Life itself had to survive countless environmental changes and evolutionary challenges before eventually producing a species capable of awareness. All of it happened before you took your first breath. The universe spent billions of years building the physical ingredients that would eventually become your body and mind. The atoms inside you survived stellar explosions, planetary formation, geological shifts, and biological evolution before arriving at this precise moment of existence. And yet many people treat their lives as if they are meaningless. They waste their attention on trivial fears. They spend years doubting their own potential. They shrink their ambitions because they believe they are insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But that belief is built on a misunderstanding of reality. You are not insignificant matter randomly drifting through space. You are a temporary structure built from ancient particles that once existed inside stars. The same energy that powers the universe flows through your body every second of your life. That does not make you the center of the universe, but it does mean you are deeply connected to it in ways most people never fully appreciate. Your thoughts, your actions, your decisions are not happening outside the cosmic system. They are happening inside it. Every movement you make is the universe rearranging its own matter and energy through the structure of your body. This is the brutal realization most people avoid. They prefer to think of themselves as detached observers rather than participants in the unfolding of reality. But physics leaves no room for that illusion. You are not standing apart from the universe. You are one brief expression of it. There is another truth hidden inside the laws of physics, and it is far less comfortable than the idea that energy never disappears. The universe preserves energy and matter with absolute precision, but it does not preserve the temporary structures those elements form. Systems change. Structures collapse. Arrangements break apart. What exists today will not always exist in the same form tomorrow. Your body is one of those temporary arrangements. Right now, trillions of atoms are organized in a precise structure that allows you to breathe, think, move, and experience the world. Those atoms cooperate through complex chemical reactions and electrical signals, forming a system that feels stable and permanent. From the inside, it feels like a solid identity, a continuous self that has always been there and will always remain. But physics does not support that illusion of permanence. The structure that makes you, is fragile. It exists only as long as energy continues flowing through your biological systems in the correct way. The moment that flow stops, the organized structure begins to change. The atoms do not vanish, and the energy does not disappear, but the arrangement holding them together gradually dissolves. This is not a tragedy of physics. It is simply the natural rule that governs every structure in the universe. Stars burn brightly for millions or billions of years, but eventually they exhaust the fuel that maintains their structure. When that happens, they change form. Some collapse into dense remnants. Others explode and scatter their material into space. The star itself no longer exists in the same way, but the matter and energy that composed it continue their journey through the cosmos. Planets follow similar patterns. Geological systems shift, surfaces transform, and environments evolve over enormous stretches of time. Oceans appear and disappear. Continents move. Entire ecosystems rise and fall. The physical structures of the planet constantly rearrange themselves as energy flows through the system. Living organisms are no different. Life depends on a delicate balance of chemical reactions that maintain order within the body. Cells constantly repair damage, replace molecules, and regulate energy use to keep the system functioning. This ongoing work creates the appearance of stability, but in reality, the body is always changing. Every moment, atoms are entering your body and leaving it. The air you breathe brings in new oxygen molecules. The food you eat introduces new atoms into your tissues. Waste products carry other atoms away again. The structure of your body is constantly renewing itself through this exchange with the environment. Over time, many of the atoms that once formed your body are replaced by others. Yet the overall structure continues functioning, giving the impression of continuity. But that continuity depends on energy. Your cells require a steady supply of energy to maintain their organized structure. Without that energy, the processes that sustain life cannot continue. The molecules that once worked together in a coordinated system begin to drift into new arrangements. When that happens, the structure dissolves. What made you a living organism was never the atoms themselves. It was the specific pattern in which those atoms were arranged, and the constant flow of energy maintaining that pattern. Once that pattern breaks down, the matter and energy involved simply move on to participate in other processes. The atoms that formed your muscles and bones will not disappear. They will return to the environment and eventually become part of other systems. Some may join soil, water, or plant life. Others may drift through the atmosphere before being incorporated into entirely different organisms. Over long stretches of time, some may even return to geological structures or cosmic dust. Energy follows the same rule. The warmth in your body spreads outward into the surrounding world. The chemical energy stored in your tissues converts into other forms as biological processes stop maintaining the structure that once used it. Nothing vanishes. Everything simply changes direction. From the perspective of physics, nothing truly ends. But the specific arrangements that allow complex systems like living organisms to exist are temporary. This idea can feel unsettling because human beings naturally cling to the illusion of permanence. People build identities, relationships, and expectations as if the current structure of life will remain unchanged forever. But the deeper laws of the universe do not promise stability. They promise transformation. Everything that exists is part of a continuous process of rearrangement. Stars transform into clouds of gas. Gas clouds transform into new stars and planets. Planets produce environments where life can emerge. Life reorganizes matter into living structures. Eventually, those structures dissolve again, returning their components to the larger system. Nothing is wasted in this cycle. The universe does not hold on to specific forms forever. It allows them to exist for a time, then releases their components back into the broader flow of matter and energy. Your body is part of that process right now. For a brief moment in the history of the cosmos, a particular arrangement of ancient atoms has formed a living system capable of awareness. That system can observe the universe, question its origins, and reflect on its place within the grand structure of reality. But like every other arrangement of matter and energy, that structure is temporary. And when it eventually changes, the fundamental ingredients that formed it will continue their journey through the universe just as they have done for billions of years. The universe does not waste anything. Not a single atom, not a single piece of energy, not a single fragment of matter disappears into nothingness. Everything that exists is part of a continuous cycle of transformation. What looks like destruction is usually just rearrangement on a scale too large or too slow to easily notice. Look at the natural world closely, and this pattern appears everywhere. Leaves fall from trees and decay into the soil. That soil feeds new plants. Animals eat those plants and convert them into movement, growth, and life. When those animals die, their bodies return to the environment, becoming nutrients that support the next generation of life. The cycle never truly stops. It simply keeps changing form. This recycling system is not limited to Earth. It operates across the entire universe. Stars are born, live for millions or billions of years, and eventually collapse or explode. When that happens, the material inside them does not disappear. It spreads outward into space, carrying heavy elements that were created deep inside stellar cores. Those scattered elements drift through galaxies until gravity gathers them together again. Over time, new stars form from those same materials. Around those stars, planets begin to take shape. On some of those planets, conditions allow complex chemistry to develop. In rare cases, that chemistry becomes life. The atoms that once existed inside ancient stars become part of oceans, mountains, plants, animals, and eventually conscious beings capable of observing the universe. This means that the universe is constantly recycling its own material on a cosmic scale. Nothing is permanently locked into one role. Matter and energy move from one system to another, participating in new structures as time moves forward. The atoms that form your body right now are not permanent residents of this form. They are travelers passing through a temporary stage of existence. Many of them have already lived countless previous lives in different structures long before becoming part of you. A carbon atom inside your body might once have existed inside a plant millions of years ago. Before that, it may have been part of the atmosphere of an ancient Earth. Go back even further, and that same atom may have been drifting through space after being thrown out of a dying star. Its journey did not stop there, and it will not stop after this moment either. The same is true for nearly every atom that makes up your body. Oxygen atoms move constantly between air, water, and living organisms. Nitrogen cycles through soil, plants, animals, and the atmosphere. Iron atoms travel through rocks, oceans, and biological systems over geological timescales. These elements never truly settle in one place forever. They circulate through different systems, changing roles again and again. Even the atoms currently forming your bones, your muscles, and your brain will eventually move on. They will leave this arrangement and become part of something else. Some may return to the soil, becoming nutrients for plants. Some may drift through the atmosphere. Some may enter the bodies of other living organisms. Given enough time, some may even become part of geological formations, or return to the cosmic dust that fills interstellar space. From the universe's perspective, this process is perfectly normal. Matter is constantly being reused. Energy is constantly flowing from one form into another. Nothing sits idle forever, and nothing is thrown away. This realization changes the way existence itself looks. Instead of seeing life as a single isolated event that begins and ends within a narrow time frame, it becomes clear that every living organism is part of a much larger cycle. Life is one stage in the long journey of matter and energy as they move through different structures across time. You are not the final destination for the atoms in your body. You are simply one chapter in their ongoing story. For billions of years, those atoms have traveled through different environments, participating in different systems. Now they are part of a structure capable of thought and awareness. For a brief moment in cosmic time, they form a human life that can question the nature of existence itself. Eventually, that arrangement will change just as every arrangement changes, but the atoms will not vanish. They will not fall into nothingness. They will continue their journey through the universe, participating in new structures and new systems. Some may become part of future life forms. Others may return to natural environments where they help support ecosystems yet to exist. The universe does not see an ending when a structure dissolves. It sees available material ready to participate in the next transformation. The endless recycling system is one of the most fundamental features of reality. Matter circulates through stars, planets, ecosystems, and living organisms without ever being permanently lost. Energy flows through those systems, powering the processes that allow transformation to continue. Every object in the universe is temporary, but the ingredients that form those objects are incredibly persistent. Your body is one temporary arrangement in a system that has been recycling matter and energy since the earliest moments of cosmic history. The atoms inside you have already survived unimaginable events across billions of years. And long after this particular arrangement changes, they will still be moving forward, continuing their silent journey through the universe. Endless cycle of transformation. Most people spend their lives thinking about existence in very small terms. Birth feels like a beginning. Death feels like a final ending. Everything in between is treated as a short personal story separated from the vast universe around it. But the deeper laws of physics quietly challenge that simple narrative. When the body stops functioning, it feels like everything must vanish with it. Consciousness fades, the biological systems shut down, and the structure that once supported awareness begins to break apart. From a human perspective, it appears to be the end of something important. But the universe does not measure existence in the same way human emotions do. From the perspective of physics, nothing actually disappears. The atoms that formed the body remain exactly as real as they were before. The energy that once powered biological activity does not vanish either. The universe simply releases those components from the temporary structure that once held them together. This is where many people misunderstand what ending really means. What ends is the arrangement, not the ingredients. Think about any structure in the universe. A sandcastle built on a beach eventually collapses when waves or wind break it apart. When that happens, the castle itself is gone, but the grains of sand remain. They return to the beach, becoming part of the larger environment again. The structure disappears, yet the material that created it continues existing. The same principle applies to every complex system in nature. A tree grows from soil, water, and sunlight. For years, it stands as a living structure, turning energy from the sun into growth and life. But eventually, the tree dies and decomposes. The structure of the tree dissolves, yet the matter that formed it returns to the soil, feeding new plants that will grow in the future. Nothing in that process is wasted. The universe simply redistributes the material into new roles. The human body follows the same rule. The atom, forming muscles, bones, blood, and brain tissue are not destroyed when the biological system stops functioning. They remain part of the physical world. Over time, they rejoin natural cycles that move matter through soil, air, water, and living ecosystem. Energy behaves the same way. The heat stored in the body spreads outward into the environment. Chemical energy contained in molecules converts into other forms as natural processes continue breaking down the structure that once held them together. That energy does not vanish. It simply moves into new systems where it can participate in other transformations physics does not recognize. The idea of something becoming nothing. The laws governing matter and energy do not allow that outcome. Instead, the universe continuously rearranges what already exists. What once formed a living organism becomes part of the larger environment again. Over time, the atoms that once made up a single body may travel through countless other systems. Some may join the soil that supports plant life. Some may enter rivers or oceans. Others may circulate through the atmosphere before eventually becoming part of new living organisms. Given enough time, some may even return to geological structures or cosmic dust drifting through space. The journey does not stop. It simply changes direction. This realization forces a shift in how existence itself is understood. Life is not a single isolated event surrounded by nothingness. It is one phase in a much larger cycle where matter and energy move through different arrangements across time. Your body is one of those arrangements. For a brief period, the universe organizes ancient atoms into a biological structure capable of awareness. That structure allows thoughts, emotions, memories, and experiences to exist. It allows the universe to observe itself through conscious life. Eventually, the structure changes, just like every structure eventually changes, but the fundamental ingredients do not disappear. The carbon atoms in your body have existed for billions of years. They were created inside stars long before Earth formed. They traveled through space before becoming part of this planet. They have likely moved through many biological systems before becoming part of you. And when this arrangement changes, those same atoms will continue their journey. They may become part of new life forms that will exist long after this moment in history. They may move through ecosystems that have not yet developed. They may drift through environments that look completely different from the world you know today. The universe does not stop the movement of matter and energy just because one structure ends. From the perspective of cosmic time, structures are temporary patterns that appear and dissolve within a much larger flow. Matter and energy keep moving, participating in new forms again and again. So what people often call an ending is not the disappearance of existence. It is the release of components back into the endless transformation that has been unfolding since the beginning of the universe. Nothing truly disappears. The universe simply keeps rearranging itself. There is a difficult truth most people avoid thinking about. The universe is unimaginably vast, incredibly old, and completely indifferent to human expectations. It does not slow down for individual lives. It does not pause its laws to protect temporary structures. Stars collapse, planets change, ecosystems rise and fall, and the great machinery of physics keeps moving forward without hesitation. Against that enormous backdrop, a human life appears painfully short. A few decades of awareness, a brief window of experience, and then the structure that supported it begins to change. Compared to the billions of years behind the universe and the billions still ahead, that span of time feels almost invisible. That realization can be unsettling. People want permanence. They want guarantees that the things they value will last forever. They build their identities around the belief that the current arrangement of life is stable and secure. But the deeper laws of the universe do not promise permanence. They promise transformation. Everything that exists is temporary in its current form. Stars eventually exhaust their fuel. Mountains erode. Oceans shift. Entire species appear and disappear through the slow process of evolution. Even galaxies collide and reshape themselves over unimaginable stretches of time. Nothing escapes the constant process of change. Human life follows the same rule. The structure that allows you to think, remember, and experience the world is not designed to last forever. It exists only as long as the biological system maintaining it continues functioning. When that system stops, the arrangement of matter and energy that created your personal experience dissolves into new forms. Many people react to this idea with fear or denial. They search for ways to escape it, to imagine a version of reality where nothing truly changes and everything important remains frozen in time. But physics does not offer that kind of comfort. The universe does not preserve specific forms forever. Instead, it preserves the fundamental ingredients matter and energy while allowing their arrangements to evolve endlessly. Structures appear, exist for a time, and then transform into something new. Once that reality becomes clear, another realization follows. If everything is temporary, then every moment of awareness becomes extraordinarily rare. Think about the chain of events required for a conscious mind to exist even briefly. The universe had to expand and cool after its earliest moments. Stars had to form and manufacture the elements necessary for life. Planets had to develop environments capable of supporting complex chemistry. Life itself had to evolve through countless generations before producing organisms capable of awareness. All of that had to happen before you could experience a single moment of existence. Billions of years of cosmic history led to this brief window in which your mind can observe the world, ask questions, and think about its own place in reality. And yet most people spend that time distracted by trivial concerns. They worry about small inconveniences. They hesitate to pursue meaningful goals. They waste years waiting for the perfect time to act, as if the opportunity to exist will last indefinitely. But the universe does not operate on human schedules. Time moves forward whether you act or not. The same physical processes that created your existence are also slowly transforming everything around you. Waiting forever is not an option, because nothing in the universe remains unchanged long enough for perfect conditions to appear. This is one of the harshest truths hidden inside the laws of physics. Your existence is temporary, but the opportunity it provides is real. For a short time, the universe has assembled matter and energy into a structure capable of thought. That structure is your mind. It allows you to explore ideas, understand reality, and shape the direction of your own actions. Ignoring that opportunity is one of the strangest choices people make. They behave as if time is unlimited, as if awareness will always be available tomorrow. But every second that passes is part of a countdown built into the structure of life itself. The process is maintaining the body continue for a while, then eventually they stop. That is not cruelty. It is simply the natural rhythm of transformation that governs every system in the universe. But within that rhythm exists something extraordinary. For a brief period, the atoms that once traveled through stars and cosmic dust are arranged into a mind capable of understanding the universe that created it. You are able to observe reality, question it, and learn from it in ways that most structures in the cosmos cannot. That opportunity is rare beyond imagination. The universe will continue existing long after individual lives have changed form. Stars will keep forming and collapsing. Galaxies will keep evolving. Matter and energy will continue moving through their endless cycles of transformation. But right now, in this short window of awareness, you are one of the rare arrangements of matter capable of understanding any of it at all, and wasting that opportunity would be one of the greatest misunderstandings of what it means to exist. So here is the challenge you cannot ignore. Your life, this moment of awareness, is a brief and rare expression of the universe itself. The atoms in your body have traveled across time and space, participating in cosmic events that occurred billions of years before you existed. The energy flowing through your muscles and brain right now has been moving since the birth of stars. And yet, most people treat this incredible gift as if it were disposable, as if time and energy are unlimited. Think about that for a moment. The same energy that once powered ancient stars now fuels your ability to think, to act, to create. The same matter that formed galaxies and planets now forms your body, capable of consciousness. And for a short period, that energy and matter have arranged themselves into something that can reflect on the universe itself. How extraordinary is that? How easily do people squander it, distracted by trivial worries, fears, and procrastination? This is the brutal truth most avoid facing. You are temporary. Your body will eventually break apart, and the structure that defines you will dissolve. But the energy and matter that formed you will not disappear. They will continue on, participating in countless future arrangements in ways you cannot predict. Nothing is lost, nothing wasted, yet this brief moment of conscious existence belongs only to you. Once it passes, no amount of regret, wishful thinking, or longing can reclaim it. You have an opportunity that will not come again. The universe has delivered to you a unique combination of energy, matter, and awareness that allows you to act with intent, to make choices, to shape your own reality. Most people do not even recognize the magnitude of what they are holding. They spend their days on habits, routines, and distractions that add nothing to their growth, to their understanding, to the impact they could have on the world around them. Time slips through their fingers like sand, and they fail to see that the grains are themselves ancient matter, traveling through countless cycles, now passing through their very hands. If you continue as most do, pretending that life is endless and your energy is cheap, you will look back one day and realize that billions of years of cosmic history traveled through your body for nothing. All that ancient energy, all those atoms forged in stars, all the processes that allowed your mind to exist wasted. That is the hardest slap of truth the universe can deliver. Awareness is finite, and it can be squandered. The lesson is simple but brutal. Stop living as if you are small, powerless, or unimportant. Stop ignoring the cosmic legacy that runs through your veins. Stop waiting for permission or ideal conditions to take action. The conditions will never be perfect. The moment will never be guaranteed. Life is not waiting for you to catch up. Time is moving forward, and so is energy, whether you acknowledge it or not. Use what you have now. Use it deliberately. Recognize that the energy inside you, the matter forming your body, and the awareness coursing through your mind are not random accidents. They are a result of billions of years of transformation, organized by the same universal laws that govern the birth and death of stars. That gives your actions weight. That gives your choices significance. That gives your life the potential to leave ripples in the systems you touch. Every decision you make, every action you take, every thought you focus on is part of this cosmic flow. You can choose to be passive, to drift through life, letting time and energy pass without effect. Or you can choose to participate consciously, shaping the flow rather than being carried along by it. You cannot stop the universe from moving, but you can direct the energy flowing through you into creation, understanding, and meaningful action. Do not forget this. Your existence is fleeting, but the opportunity is immense. The universe has entrusted its ancient energy to a temporary form capable of awareness and intentional action. Do not waste it on fear, hesitation, or trivial pursuits. Focus on what matters. Act with purpose. Channel that energy into something that lasts, something that transforms other systems, something that shapes the environment you touch and the people around you. Remember, the universe will keep recycling matter and energy long after you are gone. But this moment, the chance for conscious thought, deliberate action, and meaningful choice will not. That is what makes it precious. That is what makes it terrifying. That is what makes it powerful. The atoms in your body, the energy in your mind, and the awareness within you are gifts of unimaginable scale, and they are here for a brief window of time. So do not waste them. Step into the flow of the universe with intention. Recognize the magnitude of what is passing through you. Do not treat life as disposable. Treat it as a unique opportunity to direct ancient energy in a meaningful way. Make your actions count, because nothing about this moment will ever return. The universe is indifferent, relentless, and unstoppable. Time moves forward, energy transforms, matter rearranges. You have been given a rare and fleeting chance to participate consciously in that flow. The choice is yours. Squander it or use it deliberately, fully, and without hesitation. Take control of the energy flowing through you. Act now. The universe has delivered its legacy into your hands. Do not let it pass without leaving your mark.